right. We're at it again. We've got loads of stuff. We're going to make them fight. And we're going to decide who wins. That's the premise. That's the basic premise. We're doing our Tournament of Champions, March Madness, technically July Madness, big sporty tournament fighty thing. This time,
we need a rap party name for this.
We need to do a new name. But for now, I'm going with that, what I just said. We have to say that exactly the same every time.
Okay.
But this time, we are doing directors. Yes, directors. And the system's slightly different this time because we came up with too many directors we wanted to be involved. So we've had to decrease the amount of entries from each section. As last time we had 4 different franchises, each with 8 films. This time we have got 8 directors, each with 4 films. So the selection is smaller, meaning it's a bit more tight. The top 4 is a bit more contested.
Yep.
And as last time, we have started with the Metacritic scores in the order they should be shown, but we have made some slight adjustments.
Yeah.
As because there's now a smaller number, we felt that there were some obvious snubs that should not be disregarded.
Yeah.
And some odd high marks we don't agree with. We'll make them clear when we get to them. But some have been untouched and they're just the same. So some of them are true to that. So as before, now we've got 8 groups. There will be 8 mini tournaments. We'll decide the winner of each one for each director, and then those 8 will go into a larger tournament to fight against each other and to be crowned the best film made by the specific 8 directors. We're doing the world a service. So, who director are we beginning with? David?
I don't know.
Just pick one.
Let's just work left to right. Let's make this easy for us.
Make it easy on you.
Let's not make it too complicated.
So,
they're in a random order on my screen, so...
As long as we do one at a time, we're all good.
There you go.
Take it away, David. Share your screen, sir.
That didn't do anything.
To anyone listening on the podcast platform, we are currently trying to do a screen share so we can all see.
We will, for your benefit, we are going to talk through them as well. Yeah. It won't just be visual. We will, like as we did last time, also the name of the film, the score, it will be described audibly.
Share the goddamn screen.
So
what about that thing that happened this year, huh?
Yeah, all the things.
Yeah, mad. Yeah,
people. Oh, yay! Oh, it's just us again.
Woo. Look at that.
There you go.
Yeah, all the things that have happened in the year of our Lord, 2020.
All right, Wes Anderson.
Here we are. We're kicking off with Wes.
Weathers.
I'll put Ryan down there.
Oh, so I'm going to be in it the entire time.
I can
no, every time someone else talks, it flips. It skips.
Get rid of it. That's distracting.
There you go. We'll just leave it. Here we go. Wes Anderson.
Here we are.
Great man.
Wesley Anderson.
Yeah. So first thing to notice, all his top 4 are over 80.
They are.
That's good.
But no 90s.
No 90s for Wes Anderson, no. But our first battle is going to be the number 1 seed, the number 1 film on Metacritic, The Grand Budapest Hotel, with 88, against the number 4, Fantastic Mr. Fox, on 83.
All right.
What do we think?
Let's discuss. So, Grand Budapest Hotel was a big changing point, I think, in his career. I think that was arguably his most successful, both critically and maybe financially.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When that came out, that was a big deal.
It was.
That's when he went mainstream,
But then he went back to his next film, went very unmainstream immediately.
Yeah, he decided he didn't like it
because that's what he does.
Yeah. I always thought Grand Budapest is the avatar of his career, in the sense that it's his biggest film, but also it's one I've never really thought about going back to. I don't know.
No.
I've only ever seen it the once.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore that film.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
I mean, that might be because I'm more basic than your average Wes Anderson fan. I don't know. it is the most mainstream of his films.
Basic Wes Anderson bitch.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think anyone who likes Wes Anderson films can call themselves basic, though. Even if that is your favourite one.
I don't know if it's my favourite one. I genuinely don't. It really depends what mood I'm in.
Well, out of these four.
Out of these four?
Out of these two.
Out of these two, exactly.
Out of these two, yes, my vote goes to Grand Budapest Hotel, despite the fact that Fantastic Mr. Fox is indeed fantastic.
Mr. Fox. Yeah.
Fantastic. Talk about Mr. Fox for a bit. Great film.
Careful.
Fantastic Mr. Fox to me is regarded to me as one of the most incredible stop motion animations ever conceived. I think it's just fucking genius and captures a certain spirit of Roald Dahl
and Wes Anderson. He really converted the world without compromising it.
Exactly. That's exactly how I've always seen it. Yeah, I think it's significantly. I think it's my favourite Wes Anderson film completely. So that's a spoiler for later, maybe.
Well, same. So.
This could be a bit boring.
So for the sake of ease, then I think my vote goes to Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Same.
2 votes for Mr. Fox.
Because I've watched it maybe 20 times.
Yeah, I've seen it many times. Yeah, brilliant film.
And quote it to this day.
I'm calling it. Mr. Fox has beaten out Grand Budapest Hotel. Won't Ray Fiennes be disappointed?
I don't think he would. I bet he loves Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Probably. I don't think there's a thing he doesn't love.
Yeah. He'll do anything.
Harry Potter. He hates Harry Potter.
Does he?
The person, not the film.
Oh, okay.
He does like him. He doesn't do a very good job at trying to kill him, does he?
Rubbish.
Yeah.
But a lot of things get in his way, to be fair.
Cares about Harry's education as well. Always waits.
Yeah, but he can't. The point is, he can't kill him for a long time because of the. Never mind.
Let's move on.
I'm not going to get into the law.
All right, on to the second bout. We've got the number 2 seed Rushmore with 86 against the number 3 seed Moonrise Kingdom with 84.
This is tight.
This is
as the scores suggest.
Yeah. You've got early Wes Anderson with
mid Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
I'd say mid to late.
Am I right in saying that Moonrise Kingdom is the one he did before Grand Budapest?
Before Fantastic Mr. Fox, was it?
Yeah, I think, yeah. It's around there somewhere.
I think Fantastic Mr. Fox bridged those two, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong.
Mr. Fox is 2009, I think.
I'm wanting to say that Moonrise Kingdom was 2000. I don't know, 10.
I know Grand Budapest is 15. So.
I don't know.
Late noughties, early 10s.
Yeah.
Whatever you call the 2010s.
Whereas Rushmore is what, second feature?
I think
Rushmore's early.
The Bottle Rocket. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's his second feature film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like Rushmore, but I also really like Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah.
Moonrise Kingdom has got a lot more Wes Anderson in it, and Rushmore.
It's a lot more Wes Anderson. His style is very much more apparent.
It's more established by that point.
Yeah. His style was there in his early films, but it was much more undefined. Probably just due to budgetary constraints and stuff like that. I think I prefer the style and the Wes Anderson-ness of Moonrise Kingdom over the Jason Schwartzman. Is that his name?
Yes.
Jason Schwartzman-ness of Rushmore.
Nicolas Cage's cousin.
Nicolas Cage's cousin, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of the Coppolas.
Yeah.
There's no Coppolas on this list apart from him.
Bloody Coppolas all over the place.
Mm.
They're like cockroaches all over.
They are.
Hollywood.
They get everywhere.
So Callum, that's a vote for Moonrise Kingdom from you then.
Yeah.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
Because I do like Jason Schwartzman's performance in Rushmore and everyone else's. Bill Murray. I mean, if we're going to say I liked Bill Murray's performance, then that's all Wes Anderson films. So, but I would be inclined. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you just both went really silent.
Yeah, we're just patiently to hear your answer.
And like neither of you were really moving, so I thought you were frozen.
No, I'm listening intently.
If I'm gonna be pushed to an answer, I would go with Rushmore.
Ooh.
If I was to be pushed to an answer, but that's a close call.
Answer, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the point of this is that we have to be pushed to an answer.
Mm.
So instinctively, I would have said Rushmore. But the more I think about it, the more I remember great things about Moonrise Kingdom. There are more things thrown in there that I'd like.
So what if you were being pushed for an answer, David?
Yeah, my answer is going to be Moonrise Kingdom.
I'm fine with that. More than happy with that because I know what's going to happen next, so it's fine.
I just because originally I remember the story of Rushmore more than I remember Moonrise Kingdom, and then I remembered the Moonrise Kingdom has got Ed Norton in it.
He does have Ed Norton.
I love him in that. I mean, he doesn't even do anything particularly amazing, but he's really good.
No, he plays it pretty straight.
Yeah, he plays straight very well.
Yes. Well, Fantastic Mr. Fox is my vote to make that play simple.
Okay. All right. So for those who are listening, not following on, on screen, that is the final bout to determine the best Wes Anderson film is between Fantastic Mr. Fox, our number 4 seed, and Moonrise Kingdom, our number 3 seed. So we've
really gone against the grain.
Yeah, and by the sounds of it, it's going to be the number 4 seed that takes it.
It is.
Callum's already stated his vested interest in Fantastic Mr. Fox winning. Ryan,
as have I.
So I mean, I can put up as much of a fight as I want,
but mathematically, it's never going to happen.
But I lost the vote on Grand Budapest. I'm going to lose the vote on Moonrise Kingdom. Fantastic Mr. Fox is the best Wes Anderson film.
Rightly so.
Yeah, sure.
I hear a hint of annoyance.
Slightly bitter. Just a little bit bitter. The fact that he couldn't even put up a fight. There was no... couldn't even argue it.
Honestly, all of these films are absolutely fantastic. Yeah. They're great films. Great director.
And we've got a lot to get through, so doing it quickly is not a bad thing.
Yeah. That's Wes Anderson.
So, Fantastic Mr. Fox is going through to the final tournament.
Here we go.
As we move on to a very different end of the scale.
Yeah.
David Fincher. Thematically. But there is a through line of Edward Norton.
Yeah. This one's an interesting case, isn't it? Because we had to change the list slightly. Because
this is a change.
On the list.
Only one film has changed, and it's in our first battle. The first battle is the number 1 seed, The Social Network, with 95. That's a mental score. Against the number 4 seed, which was originally The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. But we have decided against it. We've knocked it out and replaced it with Fight Club, which only had 5 less score. But that was enough.
It's not too extreme.
Yes. I think if we'd expanded and done 8 Fincher films, Fight Club was easy. Through. So, Social Network or Fight Club?
I feel bad now because we've sort of fought for Fight Club to be in there.
And
now I can't help but vote against
it. Yeah. It's interesting. Those two films, Social Network and Fight Club, are very different sides of the Fincher coin. Fight Club was him at his most chaotic. Social Network was the start of him being a lot more reserved and perfect in a sense. That film is technically perfect in totally every single way. The camera moves so perfectly. Everything's perfect in it. And I love both styles significantly. In fact, of his styles, I think Social Network is my favorite of his modern Fincher style, and Fight Club is my favorite of his older Fincher style. So that makes it very difficult for me. I think I'll have to go.
It almost sounds as if this is going to decide the winner overall, as if the number 2 and 3 seeds don't matter.
I mean,
potentially.
We'll find out.
Yeah, potentially.
We shall see.
I want to see what you two...
I'm going to throw out my vote first. I vote for Fight Club.
Oh. Sorry, Callum. I'm going to throw it on to you.
Just off pure gut instinct, I prefer Fight Club to Social Network. I like the Social Network. I think it's very good. But Fight Club's it's just got that little something more to it. I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I have a weakness for twists.
That's fair enough. I don't begrudge you that.
There's no real twist in the Social Network.
No.
Not really. You sort of know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we know what the end's going to be. It's just how it plays out.
I understand that that's not fair. Before anybody comments.
Although if you'd read the book of Fight Club, you knew how it was going to end. Although technically it's a very different ending.
Yeah. And I tell you what, fun story. I knew the twist of Fight Club before I watched it. And I still enjoyed it.
Did you see the frames? Did you see the?
Yeah.
The tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, they even explained what they were doing as well. Yeah,
they did. Yeah.
Very helpfully for me, I've actually rewatched both these films very, very recently. And you know what? I think Social Network is a film that I think I can put on more often. If I just stumble across it, I can be like, right, Social Network, let's go for it, because it's just it just holds up to so many rewatches. It's just to me, it's such an easy watch. Fight Club, I love rewatching, but I love rewatching it with someone who's never seen it before, because I just love them.
True. Their reaction.
And every so often you'll turn to look at them with that happy expression on your face, it's coming up.
Really, even because of the twist, it's just because how fun and good the film is, and all the crazy moments and stuff. I think because of that, because I love that in cinema, I think I'm going to go for Fight Club.
Ooh!
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Fight Club.
Well, I was torn.
Social Network.
Yeah, I was. Well, I didn't officially. So now I'm going to put my chips down on Social Network purely to give it a vote.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It deserves that.
And I want to stress how difficult that is for me.
I
know I made it sound like it was easy, but honestly, I could have gone through and I would have been happy.
Yeah.
I've now got images of an alternate universe where Callum got me to watch Fight Club, and he's eagerly watching me to see what my reaction is to Brad Pitt pissing in the plot. All right, on to the second bout. We have the number 2 seed, Gone Girl.
Which is surprising.
Yeah. Versus the number 3 seed, Zodiac. So that's 79 and 78, respectively, on Metacritic. What are we thinking, lads?
I've got a soft spot for Zodiac purely because of the fascination with the actual events.
Yeah.
Because the mystery, it's so interesting, just the story.
Yeah.
That the film, I enjoy the film because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I have
because it's a real life fucking mystery.
Yeah.
Whereas Gone Girl is good, don't get me wrong, but it's it's fiction.
Yeah. So
just a thing, David Fincher is not the most original of men, is he? All of these are based on either a book, or real life events.
Yeah, he doesn't write his own movies.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Never has.
Nothing wrong.
Social Network was written by what's his face?
Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin, wasn't it? Yeah, of course it was.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hence why the script is fucking on point.
And Gone Girl was written by, I can't remember her name, but the woman who wrote the book also wrote the screenplay.
Gillian Flynn, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. Gillian Flynn.
Yep. God, that's impressive though for that film. Because usually that doesn't really work out.
Yeah.
Vast majority of the time. But she's just a good writer in general.
Authors don't tend to make good screens.
But she did.
She fucking nailed it, mate.
Yeah. Good on her.
But I think I'm going to go for Zodiac purely because of my other interest in the topic.
Okay.
Personally.
That's a vote for Zodiac. Callum?
So, yeah, with Zodiac, only Fincher, I think, can make a film that is about a serial killer that doesn't have the definitive ending. No one else in Hollywood is brave enough to make that movie. I think that might be part of why Zodiac never had a movie prior to him, because there's no movie in this because we never find out who the killer was.
There's no conclusion. There's no free acts. There's no.
He wanted to explore that thing exactly. The obsession of trying to find this guy and ending it the way they end it, where it's just so it's almost like an anticlimax, makes it a really good climax. It's like it's perfect Fincher in a sense.
Yeah.
And I love like Robert Downey Jr.'s performance. I love Jake Gyllenhaal's performance. Mark Ruffalo, such a good cast. However, I don't know why.
Oh shit!
I have the most intense soft spot for Gone Girl. I think post Social Network, he obviously went on and made Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which I do like. But when I saw Gone Girl, I was like, okay, right, yeah, this is Fincher back to his best. And I think it might be because I have such a crazy obsession with Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck is so he's like a yo-yo. It's like he can be terrible or he can be amazing, and to me it's his best performance. And Rosamund Pike is so incredible in it. Even Neil Patrick Harris and Tyler Perry are both really good, despite the fact that they're obviously made their careers in comedy mostly.
Or Broadway.
I'm gonna have to go for Gone Girl as much as I love.
Shit.
It's on you, David. It's on you.
This is really awkward because I haven't seen Zodiac.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Well, that makes
it though. It's good.
So
it's good.
It's really good.
I really enjoy Gone Girl, and we should probably mention that Seven isn't on this list.
No.
And I've been told that Seven and Zodiac are actually quite similar.
Well, because they deal with a similar. One's completely fictional and one's not, but because they deal with a serial murderer, like in the same way that it's about trying to find who the killer is.
Yeah.
Thematically, they're similar.
The interesting twist on Zodiac is Seven is about like police detectives, whereas Zodiac is about journalists.
Yeah. Okay.
It was kind of like if Seven was from the point of view of journalists, in a sense. They are similar. They are.
Right. Yeah. I can't really vote for Zodiac.
No,
I think
fair enough.
It's really unfair to vote for one if I haven't seen the other.
You can't help that, David.
Perhaps once I've seen them both, I can.
We'll come back and do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do this entire thing again. In the meantime, it's going to have to go to Gone Girl, and I apologise for that.
No, it's not your beat. I'm sure that's going to happen eventually with each one of us. I think that's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Gone Girl, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I think it would take quite a good film to top that for me.
What about a film called Fight Club?
That's a really good segue, Callum, on the final fight between the number 4 or number 5 seed, if you want, Fight Club, in the final against the number 2 seed, Gone Girl, to decide the best David Fincher film. It's really weird not having the Social Network in here.
It is.
David Fincher, I want to make it very clear, is an absolute genius. One of our best filmmakers ever. So any film that ended up.
Well, that's why we chose him. I'd say all 8 of these guys are probably our best filmmakers, Callum.
Yeah, for sure. Some are the best.
Not
of
to
our
diminish
era,
what you're saying.
Fincher is one of the best ever. Holds up against the Kubrick.
Well, he's spanned many eras now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
All the way back from Alien Cubed.
Alien Cubed.
Alien Cubed.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It is Alien Cubed. You're right.
Yeah.
But there's not 3 times 3 aliens, which is annoying. Well, no, it'd be alien times alien.
Yeah.
Times alien.
That's a massive alien 3-way. That's
Ooh, kinky.
What do you get? Anyway, there's a reason that's not on this list. So
yeah, because it's shit. Right.
Callum, what point were you going to make? Does it end with either Fight Club or Gone Girl?
I hope so.
Both?
Yeah, it's again, I think the anarchy of Fight Club fits the plot so well. Just the bonkersness of how it was made, and the time it was made, and the unapologetic filmmaking that at the time was actually made it a bit of a flop and a bit of a failure, snubbed it a bit. But realistically is fucking phenomenal. Fight Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, Fight Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, my vote also goes to Fight Club.
Oh, that's unanimous.
That's a 3-0 victory for Fight Club over Gone Girl.
Lovely.
Fight Club is our best David Fincher film.
I am going to make a suggestion for the next one and continue our 6 degrees of separation thing going on, and say we move on to Edgar Wright because Rosamund Pike is in.
Yeah.
is in A World's End. So I want to try and if we can get to each one via an actor that's in one of them.
Okay.
And so far we've done it.
Yeah. All right.
So on to Edgar Wright.
I mean, Rosamund Pike isn't in Fight Club, but
she's in Gone Girl.
She also
it doesn't
Edward
have
Norton. Yeah, because Edward Norton was in Moonrise Kingdom and that didn't win.
All right.
Here we go.
There you go. So
I don't think we will.
We've got another. We had another stern word with Metacritic. The number one seed was Baby Driver.
Yes.
On how many points did Baby Driver have? 86. Baby Driver was on. However, we've kicked it off and replaced it with Scott Pilgrim versus the World on 69. And then we have the 3 Blood and Ice Cream trilogy films as well.
Yeah.
In contention. Only 5 films, Edgar Wright.
Yeah, I think it was pretty unanimous that we all decided Baby Driver was our least favourite. Was that unanimous?
We did. I think we did.
Yeah, we did.
So
which is the thing, because Baby Driver is a great film.
Exactly.
But yeah. I found what I found interesting going on Metacritic was the worst thing that Edgar Wright's been involved in was Ant-Man. Wow. On 66, which I think proves that getting rid of Edgar Wright is Edgar wrong. Yeah, man.
There is that alternative. I really want them to
just on that joke and just that.
I really want, now that they're opening the multiverse thing, I really want them to just get him back and just do the alternate universe Ant-Man where Edgar Wright stayed on.
Yeah.
Just reboot Ant-Man in a different multiverse and just do Edgar Wright's version of the same film. I want to see
it. Why not? Let's get that. Let's make that happen.
That'd be awesome. Anyway, for now, our first bout in the Edgar Wright tournament is going to be Scott Pilgrim versus the World against Shaun of the Dead.
So
that's a toughie. That is.
It is, because they're vastly different.
Yeah, much like we were saying about Fincher, there's a thing here. Scott Pilgrim is new Edgar Wright. Perfect. It's the perfect visual comedy. It's like a lesson on perfect visual comedy. I think Shaun of the Dead is a lesson on perfect script writing comedy.
Yeah.
So that there is a slight difference in the two. I think. I think the writing of Shaun of the Dead is ultimately superior to the visual comedy of Scott Pilgrim. As good as it is, it's literally like perfect. I think Shaun of the Dead is just inherently better, I'd say.
Okay.
Right, so solid argument.
Now, I prefer Scott Pilgrim all the way up until the final 20 minutes or so when
Jason Schwartzman's in it.
They don't seem to be able to bring it to a decent conclusion, Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
They get one that's perfectly okay, and there's some really funny moments. The bit with Scott and Naga Scott chatting away, that's my favourite moment, probably,
Yeah.
when they walk out the building, having a nice little chat. And I'm trying to work out if that means that Shaun of the Dead wins for me or not, because I prefer Scott Pilgrim all the way up until I think about the overall writing. Because Shaun of the Dead's got...
But I mean, again, the fact that the ending of Scott Pilgrim is the ending of the graphic novel series. It's exactly the same. So I'm not sure if that's Edgar's fault.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the same.
I thought they diverged from the studio I thought there was a studio mandate to diverge from it. So that
I mean, it's been a while since I've read them, but as far as I can remember, it's not a whole lot different.
Okay.
He still leaves with Ramona. Like, he's still...
okay.
That's still the ending. They still run into the weird door that appears in the middle of the...
Oh, then in that case, Edgar Wright wanted to change it, and the studio was like, nah.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. So I knew they shot an ending where he ended up with knives in the end.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes more sense to me in a way.
Apart from that she's 17.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
legal, isn't it?
Neither of them are good for him. He should ditch both of them and go be with...
To work on himself for a bit, because he needs to, self-love.
Exactly.
That's anyway, him walking through that door by himself is the true ending.
Yeah. Right. My vote goes to Scott Pilgrim. I like the... I think it's going to be unfair, but there's more budget in Scott Pilgrim, and I think that allows Edgar Wright to be more Edgar Wright.
And I really enjoy like the almost literal interpretation of a comic book / graphic novel style.
It's the best. It's the best version of that. I think there's ever been.
There's only one film that's ever felt more graphic novel-y since, and that's Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does a similar thing.
I
dare say they owe a little bit to Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah.
I can imagine someone that saw that film.
I vote Scott Pilgrim. Callum votes Shaun of the Dead.
I'm going for Scott Pilgrim too.
Okay. Scott Pilgrim wins.
Again, mainly because I've read I'm a bit more of a fan of the sort of world.
There we go.
But that's not an easy decision.
No.
Shaun of the Dead is fucking
I think that's the hardest of the decisions.
Yeah. Although, according to Metacritic, the next decision is a fucking tie.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Our number 2 seed is The World's End on 81. And our number 3 seed is Hot Fuzz on 81. Decided by audience scores, interestingly.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Well, The World's End doesn't have an audience score. So Metacritic puts it higher.
Oh,
I'm not sure if that's...
So Metacritic doesn't trust the general public.
I'm not sure.
I don't blame them.
I don't know how they decided. They're both there. They were both fighting against each other.
Let's call it a tie. Yeah.
Yeah. My vote goes to Hot Fuzz. No offense to The World's End.
No.
It's better.
Because there's a lot that can be said to defend The World's End.
Yeah. The World's End has better choreography.
Yeah.
You say that, like, there are some pretty well choreographed fight scenes,
and I think also it shows a little bit more constraint as well when it comes to like the action and the tightness. I think is a little bit tighter than Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is a long movie for what it is. But the fact of the matter is, it fucking whips by like no man's business, despite its length.
It literally whips by constantly.
It literally whips hands, despite its length.
World's End has a level of maturity that Hot
Fuzz... that's what I'd say. I think of all the 3 Cornetto things, The World's End is the one that probably deals with the most human story, despite it being the most
absolutely
outlandish.
I think
Hot Fuzz doesn't need
the best film of the 3, technically. It's the most mature, the most well made, the best looking. But I think.
But it doesn't have the comedy of Hot Fuzz.
It doesn't have
it's
something.
So funny, man.
Missing something, that makes the other 2 so significantly better.
Yeah, I think The World's End is far more of like a character-driven film.
Yeah.
Whereas Hot Fuzz is a bit more something crazy's happening.
Yeah, it's a very different movie to the other two.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make a thing for you guys. Quote something from The World's End.
Fuck it, smash.
Yeah, that was my You're a bard.
Yeah.
Like how many?
Let's boo boo. Let's boo boo.
Yeah.
So let's boo boo. I still say that today.
He's drinking fucking rain.
Hey, World's End is a good film.
There are some good ones.
Yeah, but you have to think about it. You quote Hot Fuzz, there's so much. So, and I tell you what, there's not a single wasted joke in Hot Fuzz. The vast majority of it all comes back in the final bout.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It sums it up lovely.
I can't think of a single joke that isn't repeated at least once in a fresher way.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely.
Like the swan in the final fight. That's the last thing you would have expected to say today. Yeah.
I also love the outtake of that. You know, when he's originally interviewing Stephen Merchant, he's like about the swan because he's the one who's lost the swan. There's an outtake where they're discussing it, and he goes, "What color is it?" And he goes, "Well, it's a swan." What do you mean? White. And then Simon Pegg just goes, "Racist farmer." I clearly then just cut because he starts laughing. But
brilliant. I think.
Have you seen the video?
He has a lot of personal stakes.
Yeah.
Mainly, I feel very connected to Gary King randomly. As annoying as he is, I feel very connected to that character and how the phrase he says it was never better than that night and stuff.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like my college days and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it was never better.
Well, it helps that we went to college in the same town they filmed the film, so you can really connect stuff.
Yeah, and I like literally worked on it. Like it was like, and like that experience of working on it was like literally the best thing ever. So it's like it was never better than that time that I worked on that film, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of personal stakes, but I don't think that disillusions me enough to think it's a better film than Hot Fuzz. I think Hot Fuzz is generally the superior movie of the two.
All right, agreed. Hot Fuzz wins.
All right, then I'll give World's End a point.
Thank you.
Give it a fighting edge because
it
deserves it.
What did you do on the World's End, Callum?
He got spotted in Heat.
It was in
not Heat. Nuts, even higher.
Magazine.
Even higher brow.
Because I was a production runner on the main shoot, and then I came back as like I was in charge of the runners on the return, and then I had to do basically clean up Letchworth after they fucking trashed it.
Well, to be fair, Letchworth is very clean.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You did a good job, man.
Yeah, it's still clean. It's never got dirtier since then. It stayed that clean.
I think he returns every month or so just
to make sure.
But it was interesting. It was such a small set, realistically, for what it was, that I was really close to all the action. Like I heard the Martin Freeman spoiler, like in earshot. I just when he is one of the blanks. Yeah, I knew all about that, which is bonkers. But anyway. So,
all right, here we go. It's final. Which of these films is the best Edgar Wright? Is it Scott Pilgrim versus the World, or is it Hot Fuzz?
I think it's Hot Fuzz, isn't it, lads?
It's Hot Fuzz.
Yeah. I love Scott Pilgrim. Don't be wrong, but it's Hot Fuzz.
All four of these movies are fucking phenomenal.
Right. How do we connect this to the next section? Who else have we got? There's got to be something.
What cast member of Hot Fuzz has been in a Tarantino? You
know. Simon Pegg was originally slated to be in Inglourious Basterds.
He was.
Oh.
Let's try and think. Scott Pilgrim might be our best shot because there's actually some relatively big names in that.
Yeah. Well, who else have we got director-wise?
Yeah, let's have a look because I really want to keep this going if we can.
I've got everything on the list here. Bear with me one moment.
Spielberg. Oh no, there's no.
No, they're all old Spielberg. There's no new Spielberg.
Yeah, it's like Tintin. No. Who else we got?
Michael Cera in Scott Pilgrim. He's in that David Fincher film, isn't he? We just go around in a circle.
I could get back to Wes Anderson pretty.
What
easy.
David Fincher film is he in? What David Fincher film is he in?
I don't know.
That was a joke. It was a joke.
I mixed him up with Jesse Eisenberg.
They're very similar.
Yeah, I think people have made that joke before.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of that Arrested Development thing where Michael Cera basically does the whole fucking.
Oh yeah, he pretty
social network.
Yeah, he starts.
Thing.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it's called, but Fake block.
Fake block,
which is actually just a block app.
Love it. Love that.
Right, we're getting distracted by the Arrested Development. So who are the other directors we've got left? We've got
we got Kubrick, we've got Nolan, we've got Tarantino, we got Scorsese, and
I think it's stopped, and it's not worked. It's not going to work, is it, lads? What are the Christopher Nolan films?
Dunkirk, The Dark Knight, Memento, Interstellar.
It's ruined. We're not going to do it.
Yeah. Someone will message saying no, it did work because blah 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 blah. There's a separation. It will work. Let's just move on. It will work.
Yeah.
Whatever we pick, it will work.
Yeah, it's got to be something.
I think our main shout is Tarantino, to be honest, because he loves Edgar Wright. There must be an involvement there.
True. Well, he did the commentary for Hot Fuzz. There we go.
There you go.
He was on the audio commentary for the Hot Fuzz.
That's good.
Edgar Wright directed one of the shorts for the Grindhouse.
And done.
There you go.
We did it, boys.
Yeah, we saved it. It wasn't an actor, it was a director.
It still counts.
That's better.
Yeah.
Right. We are in Tarantino land.
We are. The weird, wonderful world.
Yeah. All right. So, number 1 seed, Pulp Fiction on 94 against the number 4 seed, Django Unchained on 81.
It's an interesting combo, that.
Yeah.
David, have you started one yet? If not, I think you should make a start here. What do you think?
What, me?
Yeah, you're often stuck at the end to make the decision, so you go first.
I started a couple. Anyway, my vote goes to Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
I like the bit when I can't remember what his name is, but when they're driving in the car and they accidentally shoot him in the head is one of the funniest moments of cinema. Honestly, I couldn't stop laughing when that happened, and I had to rewind because I didn't know what they were saying afterwards.
John Travolta in that scene is so funny.
Yeah, I didn't know he could act. You know?
He can, man. R.I.P. Kelly Preston, by the way. I feel bad. Travolta's son. Anyway, carry on. He's fucking phenomenal in that whole film. In fact.
Yeah, that's good. Add Samuel L. Jackson spewing Bible at us. There's so much about that film that's iconic.
There's one little thing about it that it's not the film's fault that has subsequently tainted it. Is the fact that now one of its characters does insurance adverts.
Yeah.
Then a part of me is like, how the fuck has this happened?
Yeah.
When did
the incredible actors of his generation is now doing Winston
direct
Wolfe
line.
But
also, he says in the adverts, he is Winston Wolfe. So there must be some sort of
legality
arrangement. Yeah. There must Tarantino must have been involved in that decision.
Some heat,
which is weird.
Yeah,
it's not uncommon for actors to go into adverts.
Yeah, but he's gone into as that character.
James promoting Trivago, and you're like,
but he's that character. He's not. It's not hard. He's doing the character from the film. That's weird.
I see. Okay, that makes.
He says, "Hi, I'm Winston Wolfe," and he talks it out for him. Like he does what he does in the film, but for people who've dinged their car on a roundabout.
Okay.
It's just I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I know it's unrelated to the film, but it makes me like it was a bit weird. Because Pulp Fiction was such like a. Not independent. Well, it's kind of independent. It was small and it was such a big hit, and it was so like
$4 million or so.
Yeah, but it was so like, and at the time, so anti-cinema of the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cinema.
Totally.
Yeah, it was so like almost a bit bohemian, and then they do adverts for insurance companies.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Pulp Fiction is undeniably the cinephile's dream. Every teenager cinephile has the poster in their room. And I think part of that is because it's about the things that happen between the scenes of other normal movies. So in any other movie, you'd see the two guys turn up at the house, and that would be the scene. Whereas in Tarantino, we get to see the conversation that happens between them getting out the car and them getting to the front door. It's like it's the antithesis. It's the
anti-blockbuster.
Yeah, it's and I love that. Style is genius. I do have a soft spot for Django, though. I do. I so enjoy.
I think Django might be the best Western film ever made, despite it sort of being like sort of vague. Like it's Western, but not real Western. But it's still probably the best Western.
If we're going for Westerns that aren't really real Westerns, I'd throw Blazing Saddles out there.
I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, no, fair point. Although they tackle very similar topics, just in a very different way.
Yeah. I'd argue that
I've purely
Inglourious Basterds also a sort of the World War II spaghetti western. Which is how he's always worded it. But and there's a lot of western in Once Upon a Time.
There is. He's a big fan of westerns, isn't he?
He's a big fan of westerns. Yeah. But yeah, Django's just so fucking enjoyable. Its length just whips by. The last act, I think, is the Tarantino overkill moment that he is so often sort of labelled with these days as making his films far longer than they need to be. But I feel like in Django, realistically, it's only the last sort of 10, 15 minutes that's the overkill, where a lot of his other films are more like 30, 40, 50 minutes overkill. It's so hard. It's so obvious to say Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, because it's placed in sort of like in film like history and education
and there's a reason for that, because it is really good. It is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to make a start and put my official vote on Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Just to get the ball rolling on it.
I'm going to even the playing field then.
Ow!
Of course he is. A vote for Pulp Fiction, a vote for Django Unchained. Ryan,
I'm gonna go purely on the amount of times I've rewatched, and that would have to go to Pulp Fiction because I think I've seen Django twice.
Django.
I think that's fair.
But I've watched Pulp Fiction at least 10 times.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can separate them on. Is just I've wanted to watch Pulp Fiction more times in my life.
Yep.
You've had more opportunity as well, though, because it's been out.
True. But let's be honest. Nowadays, you have the opportunity to see any film whenever.
Seen it against the number of years.
I've got them both on DVD. I have the opportunity to see them both whenever I want.
True enough.
And as much as I was, the time I came out and saw Pulp Fiction, I was probably about the same age that in terms of my lifetime.
Yeah.
It's probably about the same amount of time.
Yeah, fair enough. We're kidding.
All right. That brings us on to bout 2. The number 2 seed, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. On 83. Crazy. Against the number 5 seed, not the number 3 seed.
Yeah.
So the number 3 seed was Kill Bill Volume 2.
Yeah.
Which 3 is not the best Kill Bill.
Yep.
So we've kicked it out and replaced it with the next highest thing on the list of Wired Dogs, 79. So no Kill Bills in this.
No.
Which is
we aggregated Kill Bill as one film and it came out lower than both.
Yeah. So Kill Bill Volume 1 is on sort of 60 odd.
Which is mad.
Yeah, 60.
It's got an entire fucking anime scene in it.
Yeah.
I love that. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It is good. And the fight against Crazy 88.
Yeah.
That's probably my favourite Tarantino scene, but for me, it doesn't make the film better than some of these.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't know. If it was on here, I'd have more trouble.
True. So we've got most recent versus first of his main directorial.
Yeah. And progressionally, you get really difference because Reservoir Dogs is very tight and Tarantino at his most reserved in a sense. There's a reason that script was so hot in Hollywood because it was so tight and so tense. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, if anyone had ever tried to sell that script, I don't think anyone ever would. It only got made off the back of his popularity and his fame, and the fact to make anything he ever wanted.
You don't really know
been his first film. That could only have ever been his most recent, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has the same amount of tense. It's just spread out over a much larger, both film time and in film time. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're very different.
They are very different.
One's one location, one's, hundreds.
It's the whole city. The whole location is like a...
Except the Spawn Ranch sequence, which I guess you could refer to as the Reservoir Dogs of that film.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, that sequence is probably my favourite part in the entire film.
Yeah,
and
to me,
the fact of the matter is, Reservoir Dogs is an entire film of that scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my vote is don't go to Reservoir Dogs. I think it's tighter. It keeps up that tension throughout. The pacing is perfect.
See, I'd argue the pacing is perfect in Once Upon a Time.
No, it's all over the place.
but I think that's significant.
For that film, perhaps.
Well, you can only judge a film's pace on its own film. You can't.
Yeah. No. Okay. No. My point is that pacing might suit that film, but for my personal
fair enough
thing, Reservoir Dogs has got to have it for me. It's it doesn't have any downtime. Or it doesn't. There's no time wasted in that film.
Yeah.
And I think Once Upon a Time, it feels like it's meandering. And you know what? If you want to go ahead and say that that's that film, and it works, then that's absolutely fine. More power, more party, fair fucks.
Copy and paste what David just said. Put it in my mouth. Yes, I do. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
The more I think
we've got one vote on Reservoir Dogs. You two can battle out. And
I'm going to get in early and make Callum's decision harder because I'm going for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh shit!
Right. The more I think about Reservoir Dogs, the more things I remember, and the more things I like. The sequence where Tim Roth is trying to explain the story he is going to tell later in the film. Is genius. Probably Tarantino at his best, in fact. And the more I think about various moments, the scene in the diner at the beginning is fantastic. The scene when they're in the car talking about Like a Virgin, all this stuff. But the jukebox nature of Once Upon a Time is so good. The music is fucking phenomenal.
I think it captures like an entire time period.
Yeah,
and demonstrates Hollywood's change in a film.
100%.
I was just going to say, Once Upon a Time is a pitch perfect period piece.
Yeah, it really is.
It feels like he recorded it in the 60s and was just waiting until now to release.
Yeah. I agree that Once Upon a Time has its issues. And I think it's a little bit too long, but the final 20 minutes and a majority of moments in the film, in fact, my least favorite bits are the bits when it's the Western being filmed. I think ultimately Once Upon a Time is my vote.
Oh,
I do love Reservoir Dogs, but not quite as much.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough. Which means that we have an interesting in our hands. We've got classic Tarantino with Pulp Fiction against the most modern Tarantino in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
But then arguably, Pulp Fiction is almost a sort of a look back at the time that Once Upon a Time is actually set in.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I see what you mean. Like
it's
that era.
Yeah,
maybe even earlier, but especially if you think about the sequence in the diner where it's like Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley and all that. I think it's trying to modernize that kind of era, whereas Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is set in that era. It's always Tarantino films are always very much about his past. Once Upon a Time very much his love letter to his era, the era he grew up on movies in. And I think the films he loves is also a reflection of that. It's a lot of westerns, it's a lot of like revenge movies and all that kind of stuff. Films that definitely came out in that era. I think though Pulp Fiction is ultimately the tighter, funner, with arguably more interesting characters, I'd say. I love Uma Thurman, John Travolta, Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson. Whereas in Once Upon a Time, I love Brad Pitt. Leonardo DiCaprio is hilarious, but some of his scenes do meander. I think I would have to go for Pulp Fiction.
Okay. Vote for Pulp Fiction.
It's a tricky one, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do want to add, though, that if Inglourious Basterds was on this list, I would put Inglourious Basterds on the top. That's my favourite one.
I think I'm actually similar. I love that film.
Yeah.
I've only seen it once, and it still feels... out of these two, I'm trying to erase from my mind the fact that Pulp Fiction is beloved and held up as a shining example of everything that's good. You know what I mean, though? It's like if you say Tarantino, you think Pulp Fiction.
It's true.
A lot of that is because everybody else tells you that the two are synonymous.
Yeah.
To try and separate them out is quite tricky.
Mm-hmm. Da-da, da-da, da-da.
All right, I tell you what, I'm going to go a little on the wild side.
Oh.
I've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood more recently than I've seen Pulp Fiction, and that's only because it came out last year.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't know if I'd want to go back and rewatch it. I think that single viewing in my head is probably the highest it's going to get.
Okay.
I don't know if rewatching it would make me like it anymore.
There go.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen Pulp Fiction.
Fucking hell. Someone make a choice.
You know what? Fuck it. My vote goes Pulp Fiction as well.
Cool.
Second place for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is not.
I'll give that a vote.
So with the connection of Harvey Keitel, I think we need to go to Martin Scorsese.
Yay! Even though one of his films doesn't. Let's fuck it though. Fuck it. It's close enough.
You were thinking of that before.
I was. I've been thinking that since the first one we did.
Yeah.
Connect them.
All right, Scorsese.
We've done it.
There we go. Martin Scorsese.
Right, heads up. I've only seen 2 of these films.
Okay. Is each of them from one of the...
Yes.
Okay, so we've got 2 votes already in the bag.
Okay, so the first bout for Martin Scorsese is the number 1 seed, Mean Streets, with 96. Crazy.
Also his first film.
Movies are over 90 from Martin Scorsese. He's got a lot of beloved films.
He does.
The number 1, Mean Streets, with 96, against the number 4, Goodfellas, on 90.
Yep.
I've only seen Goodfellas, so Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. I think
And Goodfellas is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, Goodfellas is amazing. Goodfellas, Mean Streets was his first movie, and it's like Wes Anderson. It's all the staples of a Martin Scorsese movie, but it's very rough, rough around the sides. It's not perfectly made. It's Mean Streets is actually a really good title for it because it does feel really gritty and really like on the fly, and it's not perfect by any means, but I think Goodfellas was the moment where people were like, okay, yeah, this guy's got a style and he's going for it, like this is awesome. I think Goodfellas is the obvious choice for me.
2 votes for Goodfellas. All right, that was a quick one.
What would you have voted for, David?
I haven't seen either of them, so
okay.
Based on the fact that I've heard more good stuff about it, Goodfellas would be my vote. I think, I know people who have Goodfellas as their favorite film of all time.
Yeah.
So, but that's based on nothing. I'm glad you two came to a consensus without me. There we go. All right, our number 2 bout, The Irishman on 94 against the number 3 Taxi Driver, also on 94.
I've only seen Taxi Driver, so there's my vote.
I'm going to throw it out there. Sorry, Callum, but I've only seen The Irishman.
Oh, shit.
Okay, interesting. Very good, very good. Okay, so The Irishman is very good.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I've seen bits of Taxi Driver.
Everyone's seen bits.
There are clips all over the place. There are clips all over the place.
Yeah, of course. Irishman is very much like Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, is very much a film about his career. The Irishman, there's no way he would ever have made that movie if it wasn't for all of the movies.
No, and if it wasn't for Netflix.
And if it wasn't for Netflix, yeah. And so I like the retrospective nature of it. However, I prefer the perspective of Taxi Driver, the actual thing, a filmmaker in his prime in that moment, making arguably my favourite film on this list. Yeah, Taxi Driver. I do want to add though, if Hugo was on this list, I think Hugo would have it for me.
Really?
I think Hugo is my favourite Scorsese film.
Wow. Not many people say that.
Yeah.
And it's a U. It's like his most child-friendly movie. Anyway, yeah. Taxi Driver, please.
Taxi. Come on, where's my mouse? Taxi Driver. There we go. Which means that the final is Goodfellas against Taxi Driver.
Very similar era.
My vote, just because it's for all the reasons I just said. Yeah.
Okay, Ryan.
Well, it's the 2 I've actually seen, which is nice.
That is nice, yeah.
Ooh. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, it is.
Bear in mind, David barely has a vote here because you haven't seen either of them, have you?
No, he hasn't seen either of them.
I've seen bits of both of them, and I would have to base mine on the bits that I've seen.
Okay.
I'd say I'm inclined to agree with Callum for the same reasons.
There you go. That makes it.
But it's not clear cut. But he put forward a good argument.
And again, I think the thing with Martin Scorsese, there are a lot of films for him, and I think we'd all have different picks. But I have a really soft spot for Shutter Island, which I don't think belongs at the top of a Scorsese list.
Yeah, I would have had Raging Bull in my top 4.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
I love that film.
I also love The Departed as much as.
And The Departed, yeah. It's too many.
Oh shit, The Departed.
Like we did question doing some replacements on this one as we did with others, but there was too many to bother.
Yeah, he's got too many good films.
He does, the bastard.
Yeah. You know who else has too many good films?
Well, come on, we can do this.
Are you sure?
Surely.
Yeah, we've done it already, mate. We've done it already.
Taxi Driver wins for Scorsese, who's got a.
Well, annoyingly, because we got rid of Insomnia from Nolan, the Al Pacino connection.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Over there is going to be a multitude of different.
There must be
availability. Yeah, there is.
Just saying there is and doing it.
DiCaprio as well, but again, we don't have any of them here.
No. No.
Let's have a look.
Joe Pesci.
Who else have we got there?
No, we got Spielberg,
we got left.
Got Kubrick, and we've got Nolan.
Okay, all right, we can make this happen. Oh, again, we don't have Departed, otherwise Jack Nicholson would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But well, technically, there's a lot of connections, just not
with the films that we've got. Oh, Christ.
Oh, there is one. There's one. Let's move on. I'll figure it out while we do it. Pick one.
Yeah, once I see the other films, I might be able to do it.
Yeah.
What was in Spielberg? What have we got in the Spielberg film?
Spielberg is Schindler's List, E.T., Saving Private Ryan, and Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
There's got to be one there.
They're not
surely
really cast heavy.
Mad, there's not. How is there not any?
There is.
There must be.
There is. There must be.
The amount of people that are in the fucking Irishman.
Yeah, exactly.
And Goodfellas.
I just want to make the point also, is Samuel L. Jackson in anything other than Goodfellas that we haven't touched on yet?
What do you mean?
What?
Well, he's in Goodfellas, so Samuel L. Jackson's usually in everything, so surely
he is.
I can't think of anything else.
He's in the Tarantino films. So
yeah, but
that's
done those.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He's not in any. He would. Yeah, that would have been a good one to have earlier.
It would have, wouldn't it? It would have.
Yeah. I didn't know he was in Goodfellas, or I would have. Oh, hang on. No, he's in Goodfellas, and he's also in Jurassic Park, which isn't
in our Spielberg list
that we have for Spielberg.
Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
How have we managed to pick from the arguably three of the biggest directors of all time?
Yeah.
Well, no, this is the problem. There is one, but we just haven't quite grasped it.
It's got to be there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere. There are people listening to this podcast yelling at us.
Yeah. Spielberg or Kubrick will have an actor that is in both.
Yeah.
Easily.
Who's in Mean Streets?
De Niro.
De Niro's in, yeah.
De Niro is Kubrick somewhere?
Isn't he E.T.? Isn't De Niro inside E.T.?
Isn't De Niro E.T.? Oh, this is bollocks.
Who's in? There's so many people in Saving Private Ryan. Let's have a fucking look.
Right, we've resorted to looking it up, have we?
We have, because I want to fucking do it. We started off so well.
We did.
Okay,
right. You know what? Okay, here we go. Liam Neeson is in Schindler's List, and he is also an Irishman.
Yep. I'll allow it.
You'll allow it, will you?
I personally will allow that if that gets us going.
Oh, fucking hell.
Perfect.
Oh, you know what? There's not that many people in Saving Private Ryan. Now I look at it, it's actually... Oh, this is bollocks. What? There's separation. Let's just do the fucking...
Isn't Vin Diesel the taxi driver in Taxi Driver?
He's the taxi.
If he is, then he's also in Saving Private Ryan. What about Sybil Shepherd? She in any of the Spielbergs? Or any of the Kubrick? No.
I have no idea, mate.
No. Pesci. Al Pacino. Robert De Niro.
How have we done this?
I forgot what the other Kubricks are.
Yeah, go on.
He often didn't cast huge actors in his early stuff, anyway.
Is Shelley Duvall in Taxi Driver?
Shelley Duvall. She might be.
Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall in Taxi Driver.
Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall. Let's find out what she's been in.
I know she was in that Woody Allen movie, and she was in Shining, and she was in Popeye.
She was Olive Oil in Popeye.
But I don't know anything else that she was in except, hello, I'm Shelley Duvall.
Oh, she's done nothing. She's really. Oh, that's produced. She's produced quite a bit. She's done shit ton.
Come on, get it. Telling me that she's in Taxi Driver.
She's not in Taxi Driver.
Oh fuck. What about Jodie Foster? Surely
Jodie Foster.
Come on.
Jodie Foster.
What's she in?
Jodie Foster. What's she been in, eh? What's she up to?
Is she in it? What movies have we got left again? Oh, let's move on. Have we done? Oh, let's do Nolan Connection. Let's say Insomnia, and he's in that, but he's not in the list.
But do it. Fuck it.
Because we had to move it, didn't we? Because it was on the list, but it
was on the list.
So we'll mention that. This isn't even a podcast anymore.
We put this. No, it's not. It's not. We've enforced this on ourselves, and now we're really. It's my fault. I'm sorry.
Right, Nolan, please.
Hang on. She is in Taxi Driver.
Who is?
Jodie Foster. Oh,
yeah, that's.
I thought I was still looking at Shelley Duvall's page. I weren't.
I got so excited.
So did I.
Right. So Insomnia was on the Nolan list. So
hang on. No, wrong one. That's Fincher. I'm going to say that Jodie Foster's also in Panic Room. Yeah.
Which also isn't on the list, so it still counts.
Yep. Still, yeah.
So Nolan's the closest we can get because Insomnia was on the list.
Yep.
And we bumped
it. We removed it.
Yeah. But that's a better connection than Liam Neeson is an Irishman.
It's an Irishman.
All right. So with Christopher Nolan, this is going to be interesting. So the first bout is the number 1 seed, Dunkirk, for some reason, on 94. I think we know where my feelings lie on this.
Yeah, clearly.
Against what would have been Insomnia, but we bumped it for Interstellar on 74.
Is that we did that because we're all pretty unanimous that much like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, he's done a remake of a foreign movie, and actually more interesting to do like a small piece kind of thing. Okay, cool.
Well, we all prefer Interstellar to
Insomnia. That's true enough. Yeah, as good as Insomnia is, Interstellar is superior.
Yeah.
Okay, who wants to go first?
Which is superior out of Dunkirk and Interstellar?
Interstellar.
My vote goes to Interstellar.
Same.
I think this is super unanimous because Dunkirk, we all agreed earlier that for some reason it's on 94 when everything else should be up there, and Dunkirk should be a little bit lower. As good as it is, it's my least favourite on the list.
Yeah.
It's probably my least favourite Nolan, to be honest.
Me too, actually, yeah.
I know, I don't... There's just... It doesn't feel like he does anything particularly interesting with it.
I would argue that there's definitely some interesting things he does with it. It's just that whether they work or not.
Yeah. It's fine. I saw it once. I won't see it again. I think it, to be honest, it's got the same feeling to it as 1917 does, in that it's a war film. You're meant to experience it rather than view it objectively. Does that make sense?
1917 was on this list. I would be much more torn because I've much preferred 1917.
Yes, me too. I think 1917 does a better job of engrossing you in
100%.
moment.
So engrossing.
We were all agreed on Interstellar. I'm going to click on it.
No doubt.
There you go. So that brings us on to the second bout, which is The Dark Knight on 84. That's the number 2 spot. Against the number 3 spot, Memento. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that Memento got up that high.
Memento is fantastic.
I like Memento a lot. I think it's really clever.
Yeah.
It's probably just because of it, like how intricately they had to script it. Probably a better script than The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah.
If I'm if I'm trying deliberately to be contentious.
Yeah, because it's unique.
Yeah.
Uniquely scripted. It's whereas Dark Knight is very conventionally scripted.
Yeah, I think Memento is because of what it is. It is definitely much tighter. I I don't know if that necessarily means it's better. The Dark Knight, obviously, we take it for granted now, but the things it did to change the superhero genre at the time,
and just action films in general,
and it was the first proper use of like the freeway cross-cutting, manipulating montage and time to really engross the audience. Which that sequence in which the Joker tells him to go to the one place and then goes to the other place, I think is still probably the best example of that method. Probably ever devoted to film. Maybe.
I tell you what, you said that The Dark Knight did all of these things for cinema in general. It came out in 2008. I didn't watch it until 5 years later, and it still blew my mind.
Yeah.
Even with all the stuff that had come out in the wake of it, The Dark Knight is still the one that blew me away.
Yeah.
I think, and it was the film that made me want to watch Memento. So.
Right. Yeah, I think for the sake of a filmmaker who allowed himself to get so high up in the industry on his own terms and was able to do the movie he wanted and still made it like a massive success, but also a critical success, and also a film that holds up today. I think The Dark Knight is probably my choice, as much as I think Memento is a stellar achievement for a filmmaker's technically first properly financed movie. Not being his first feature, but definitely his first sort of properly financed and released movie.
Yeah.
Dark Knight for me.
Ryan, do you have a say?
I agree.
So I just realised you haven't said much in the last.
Well, I couldn't add much to what you just said. I think you've already summed it up pretty well.
I mean, you bring Nolan up on the screen, it's going to be Callum talking for 15 minutes. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really want to discount Memento too much, but it is going to be The Dark Knight. There's 3 votes on Dark Knight.
So it's 3 votes versus 3 votes.
A
clash.
Yeah. The final, the best Christopher Nolan film, is it Interstellar or The Dark Knight? Now, Interstellar, a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
It does split people.
It's very divisive. But you can make an argument that a divisive film is arguably better.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Some films are divisive. It depends what side of the device
it really does.
you sit on.
Yeah. But he
certainly... People who love a divisive film tend to love it, kind of thing.
Yeah. People tend and they hate it if they don't like it.
Dark Knight, I think, has been lost a bit in popularity where everyone loves it. So people have let it fall into obscurity a little bit, maybe a little bit more than Interstellar.
Yes, The Dark Knight, that very obscure film.
Yeah.
I think Interstellar is a bigger talking point still than Dark Knight because of how divisive it was.
Yeah, and because since then we've had a different Batman, and we're going to have another different Batman.
Yeah.
Not
Interstellar
on that Batman.
And Interstellar deals with such like interesting subject matter.
It does. Yes.
I just adore Interstellar so much. I just think it's so good. It's probably Interstellar. I do. Again, I want to say, if this list was The Prestige, Interstellar, The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, I would have a big fucking problem. But as it stands, the 2 that I'm fighting between, I think Interstellar.
The Prestige is so low on the Nolan list.
It's bollocks. That is bollocks.
Mental. I love The Prestige. Can we agree that The Prestige wins?
The Prestige and Interstellar often battle in my mind for my favourite Nolan film.
Out of those 2, I prefer The Prestige.
Well, it's not on here, so it doesn't matter.
No, it's not. No. I love Interstellar. It's good. My vote goes to The Dark Knight, though.
Okay.
I think. See, I really like Interstellar, but I think it reached very far. I don't know if it hit all the right notes. I love the fact that there are filmmakers out there doing interstellar kinds of films. And I give it so many points for that.
Mm-hmm.
But The Dark Knight is still gold standard for me.
Yep. And rightly so.
Yeah.
B-Ray?
I feel better giving votes to The Dark Knight because Interstellar already got one from Callum.
Yeah.
Callum would vote for The Dark Knight.
I want to add, I'm wearing my Batman pajama bottoms and my Batman socks, and I've got my Batman tattoo. So I'm very much.
Yeah, but you have also got an Interstellar tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. I love them both.
Although the Batman one takes up more real estate on your body.
That's very true.
Yeah, but what about the big Christopher Nolan face he has on his left arm? Right, and it's one apiece. So it's going to fall to you, I'm afraid.
I don't know, purely because of its effect on popular culture, I'm going to go with Dark Knight.
Okay.
Because of its sort of, its influence and its sort of how it's sort of...
I'm going to be honest. I think we all knew it was going to go that way.
Yeah, but it's not. It wasn't clear cut.
No, I think on any given day, one of Nolan's other films might sort of crop up.
Yep.
Yeah. Inception's not on there. Oh.
Yeah.
What's going on? There's too many Christopher Nolan films.
Absolutely.
And he's only made 9?
10, I think.
Is it 10 now?
I think Dunkirk was 10.
Ah, okay. 10.
Because I got annoyed that Tenet wasn't 10.
They should have ordered Ethernet.
Yeah. Speaking of this list, I figured it out a minute ago and now I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Oh, what a connection.
Yeah, who have we got left?
You got Stanley Kubrick and you got
Steven Spielberg.
I had it a minute ago. What was it?
Gary Oldman? No.
What? Can we go to the Spielberg list, please?
We got E.T.,
Schindler's
Close Encounters, Schindler's List,
and Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, for fuck's sake! That's right. I had it a minute ago. What was it? What did I have?
Was it Liam Neeson?
Oh.
Is it because Liam Neeson is racist and so were the Nazis in Saving Private
Ryan? Well,
Christ.
Christian Bale was in Empire of the Sun. Was that?
He was.
Is that what it was called? That was directed by Spielberg.
Yeah, that was a Spielberg film.
Yeah.
There you go, Spielberg.
There's got to be a better one.
There probably is, but
there will be.
But I can't be bothered right now. We've given up. Crack on.
What year was Memento released?
2000.
Was it 2001?
Oh no, it wasn't. Sadly.
That's
I think it's 2000. Yeah.
All right, moving on to.
Okay, Dunkirk was a World War II film.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what Schindler's List. There you go.
And so was I was going to go with Saving Private. Both of them are. It works.
Yep.
There you go. All right, Schindler's List. Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
First bout.
We've got 2 war films and 2 alien films. He's got a type, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He does, yeah. Yeah, and then of course you combine the 2 together in 2005, you get War of the Worlds.
Yeah, sadly.
Crazy. That was a great film.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
All right, look, it's not up there with these 4, but it is a good film, and I enjoy it.
Okay.
Until Dakota Fanning opens her mouth, but that's not her fault. She's a kid at the time. Anyway,
I think it went wrong when they flicked on the cameras. Is when it went wrong. But
right. You really don't like that film.
Hate, absolutely awful.
We shall have a conversation at some other time about it. Sure.
I fit perfectly in the middle of this conversation, so I love.
As in, it's all right.
I love the first act and a half, and then I check out for the last half.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that you were resolutely indifferent to it.
Yeah, just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right. So, Bout 1.
Bout 1, the top film, Schindler's List of 94. Against number 4 film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind on 9.
I really like Close Encounters.
Yeah, I like Close Encounters.
I think it's really cool. And it's a really down to earth alien film.
Yeah.
It's like really realistic. Like it's not
proper alien film.
Yeah, it's like old school Alien.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's not this new fancy Alien. It's like, you know, you never really see the alien. You just see the ship.
Yeah.
It's in the desert.
Yeah.
You know, it's
almost like a precursor to Arrival or something like that.
I'd say so. I'd say that they are. Yeah, Arrival is if Close Encounters kept going.
Yeah.
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 Spiritual sequel.
They started communicating with it, and then it's even more complicated now. You know.
Yeah, fucking hell, we've got a whole different thing going on now.
Yeah. I really like Close Encounters. I think it.
Yeah.
It takes the whole aliens arrive and doesn't do anything beyond that. It focuses on what we do with that in the nebulous
and it's
background.
It's what one man happens to do.
Yeah.
It's not what the government does. It's not what, you know, it's just a bloke.
Yeah, all of that stuff's in the background almost.
Yeah, you follow him the whole time. You see little bits of that, but it's mainly just about him and his experience with what if aliens found Earth.
Yeah. And I think it's really good for that. And Steven Spielberg will go on to use that technique in great effect in the film War of the Worlds.
I think just by the way we're talking about Close Encounters, I think it's clearly looking at knocking Schindler's List off.
I mean, don't be wrong. We haven't even started. We haven't even spoken about Schindler's List.
I saw Schindler's List once, and I do want to watch it again. But there's like one moment that sticks in my mind, and that's it. Is the moment where Ray Fiennes trying to shoot the gun, but he gets jammed.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, that is very powerful, very scary. But Close Encounters is just so fun, and it's so like I think I saw it at the Royal Albert Hall like last year with a live orchestra, amazing. But I forgot the main thing I forgot was how fucking funny it is. And the lead actor is so funny, and also it makes way for one of the best Simpsons parody jokes ever with the clown college.
The clown college with the mashed
potatoes. Yeah.
And in IT Crowd where he makes the sea parks.
Yeah.
Also out of MASH.
Schindler's. I think maybe if I rewatch Schindler's List, my mind would be different. But Close Encounters for me is my pick.
Yeah. Close Encounters.
I've had to look up the name of the actor. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
It's Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss, that's it.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
Feels like a natural.
Actor.
It feels like a natural underdog to me, and therefore I'm drawn to it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think Schindler's List is, you know, it's based on real events, and we'll, you know, but I think because it's a film about a subject that we've seen a lot of.
Yeah.
And I think there's better films about that subject, despite it being very good.
Okay. All right.
Whereas I think Close Encounters might be the best, like, alien film, apart from Alien.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, my vote's going to go to Close Encounters.
I think mine is too. You know.
Okay.
There we go.
And that bitch with the red coat fucking ruins it. Lovely in black and white, the whole film. And then this fucking girl, you just have a red coat, ruins
a cinematic
the entire
revolutionized storytelling, and you're just well fucked off about it.
Fucking ruined it. It was looking lovely up until that point, but she had to have a coloured coat. Oh.
I would love to see a version of Sin City with Ryan's commentary on
just
it.
Going, well, just pick. Do you want black and white? Do you want colour? Pick one.
Right. If Peter was here, this decision would be a lot harder for me.
It would.
Yeah.
Well, the conversation would be heavier for me, I think. I can imagine. But what's the second bout?
Bout is our number 2 pick, Saving Private Ryan, which is Peter's favourite film of all time, against the number 3 pick, E.T., the extraterrestrial.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I don't have a bit of a soft spot for Saving Private Ryan, purely because as a child, it was exciting that my name was in the title of a film. It was sort of like, oh yeah, that's my name. Like,
if you look as well, we've got Saving, and then we've got a P, and then underneath we've got E.T., and then we've got an R. It looks a bit like
Peter.
Yeah.
Peter.
Peter.
Yeah. I mean, it says Saving Save P. Ryan because there's little space in this hastily cobbled together.
I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of E.T.
I harbour a resentment of E.T. purely because it was held up as a shining example during the entirety of my script writing course.
Really? I mean, it's good, but I wouldn't...
It is good, but apparently it's got really solid structure.
Yeah, fine. Can't argue with that.
But
yeah,
I would rather see other films using the same stuff than just keep throwing that one out.
Okay, so some personal connection with
diversity, and I work very hard to make sure that doesn't impact these things.
But it does, so it's fine.
It does in the back of my head.
If I'm going to say I like it because my name's in it, David, you can say.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when we get to the final thing, and I vote for David Fincher every time, you're going to know. Right.
Christ, you still got to do that. Fuck me. We need to get on with this, guys.
Yeah.
Separate podcast another time. Like this is long.
I think that's a good idea.
It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I say we do that. I say we do this, and then we can put it to the vote, and we can actually seed those properly.
I think. Yeah. Well, what would be better? We put it on the Facebook page. We do.
You can do each round. Let the people decide.
Do it with the people. That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Yep.
There you go. Anyway, for this bout, my vote still goes to E.T.
Okay. Wow.
It's got the edge for me.
Yeah.
I think Saving Private Ryan is great, but anytime anyone talks about it, it's the bit where you'll get mown down and everyone dies, and you're like, fuck. I find it very difficult to remember anything else from that film.
Yeah, there are the one gripe I have with Saving Private Ryan is it's very America. At no point do they pan and go, do you want to just look at all the British, Canadian, Australian, South African, French? Yeah. Are we going to mention any of the other people that fought in that war, or are we just going to go, America saved it? It's a bit of that. There's a lot of America saved the day in that film,
which is brilliant for a film that was shot in Hatfield.
Yep.
Which brings me to my point. I think E.T. is a better film, but I think I really only like the opening 30 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. I like
the opening and the ending of Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, but that opening I think trumps E.T. for me. And also the Hatfield connection just makes me feel a little bit closer to it.
Yeah, I've got the hometown connection and the name connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2 votes to Saving Private Ryan then and 1 to E.T. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I voted E.T., you 2 vote.
Yeah, just about though.
Just about. There we go.
I think that makes it very clear what the winner is then, because we're pretty sceptical about voting for Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
Close Encounters.
Yeah. Final fight, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Saving Private Ryan. I'm gonna be honest. I think Callum's nailed it.
Yeah,
I vote goes Close Encounters.
Wow, imagine it's like it's one of his first films.
Brilliant.
I think it's got to be 1977. That's got to be early in his career.
It was like third film, I think.
Yeah. He peaked real early.
Well, Jaws was his first big one, and that was 75.
Yeah. So it's one of his.
Jaws was his first, was it?
Yeah. It looks like it. Yeah. Mad.
I think so.
First big one, anyway. It might not have been his.
I think it was the first one with a wide cinema release.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
He had a couple of others in the lead up to it, but I mean, talk about all the films that aren't on here. You've got Jaws is missing. Yeah. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park, and some proper Spielberg.
Yeah, if Jaws was on there, it might have been a tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catch Me If You Can is probably my favourite.
What's that, sorry?
Catch Me If You Can is probably my favourite.
Yeah, that's a great one.
We all love that film.
Report.
We've established how much we love that film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. There's only one left.
There's an obvious connection here. Stanley Kubrick passed the reins of AI on to Steven Spielberg.
He did.
Because he thought that Steven Spielberg would be the better director for it, despite the fact he...
Confirmed, Close Encounters was his third feature-length film.
Yes, cool.
Well, they had TV movies before then, but his first cinema... The Sugarland Express was his first.
Oh, yeah, of course, Sugarland, yeah, of course. Yes.
Jaws,
right.
and then
here we go.
Just to confirm,
our last one, Stanley Kubrick. Here we go. The first battle is between Dr. Strangelove or
97.
To Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb on 97, which I believe is the highest score.
Yeah.
That's the number one Kubrick film. Now, 2, 3, and 4.
Yep.
Stanley Kubrick. We got rid of.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for anybody who wants to know, those films were The Killing on 91, Barry Lyndon on 89, and Spartacus on 87.
Yeah. None of us have seen Barry Lyndon, I think. Is that right?
No.
That was unfair. The Killing was like very early, like even before like Doctor Strangelove. And what was the other one? Spartacus. I think we all agreed. Like even Kubrick wasn't a big fan of it. Like
no,
it was just what it was. So this was the more definitive.
We've replaced them with basically the Stanley Kubrick popular films.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as any Kubrick film is popular.
Yeah.
So the battle here is going to be between Doctor Strangelove and one of the lowest Kubrick film on Metacritic, The Shining.
And I think that's because of people who don't know what horror films are anymore.
Yeah. I think this is going to be an interesting one because
complete opposites in terms of.
I'm aware of how much you're into Peter Sellers and comedy and all that.
Yeah.
So Ryan, I think you should start this one.
Yeah, I prefer Doctor Strangelove because I just in terms of the genre, just purely based on that, I'd much rather watch a comedy film than even The Shining is probably my favorite horror film, if you can call it that. It's even borderline not, but
I'd call it a horror film.
Yeah, and it's probably my favorite. But it still doesn't. My favorite horror film is still like only a third of the way up into my favorite comedy films. So it just offsets it. So
Strangelove, number one. David.
See, we're coming across a similar problem. I've seen bits of both of these. Admittedly, quite a few bits.
Well, they're both quite long.
Yeah, I like The Shining, but I think I like Doctor Strangelove more.
Okay.
I think there's a certain ridiculousness to it.
Yeah.
That specific niche of humor is right up my alley.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
The absurdity.
Yeah, and of the two, Doctor Strangelove is the one that I definitely want to watch more.
Okay. Well,
so if that counts as a vote, then that's where it goes.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, it would because that would have been the tiebreaker if not I would have gone with Shining. So
yeah,
that definitely is the vote.
Yeah.
Doctor Strangelove it is.
Where do your feelings lie, Callum?
Oh, The Shining is up there with my favourite films of all time.
Yeah.
So The Shining would have very easily been mine. So yeah, Doctor Strangelove.
Okay. I feels weird getting rid of The Shining, but all right. That's how it goes. Okay. And the other bout between 2001, A Space Odyssey, which it's on 84. So you think
that is, you know what? That is surprisingly high for how high concept that film is.
Yeah. And A Clockwork Orange on 80. So those would have been the 5 and 6 seeds, I think.
Bad.
So, what are we thinking, lads?
Out of those two, I think the more watchable film is Clockwork Orange, despite it being very unwatchable in a sort of human level.
Yeah, it's easier.
But, it's got us like the story is linear at least.
Yeah.
And doesn't tackle,
I would say it's easier to not turn off.
Yeah, despite having scenes on it that are, horrific.
Yeah.
At least they're engaging, even though they're horrific. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like you want, that's what you want to watch, but you're impelled to watch because of the story. Whereas 2001, it is easy to get lost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 2001 can't be a tough watch. It's not. It's not a Sunday afternoon watch. It's not.
No, it's a few Sunday afternoons watch.
When I see it, I feel like I need to be in a very dark room and with no distractions. When I saw the cinema re-release, was the best experience I had watching it, despite the fact I had seen it before a few times. Just by proxy of the fact that you have to focus your attention because you're in a cinema. And it was a really enjoyable and rewarding experience. However, Clockwork Orange, Stanley Kubrick is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, and Clockwork Orange is my favorite of his films. So it stands to reason that Clockwork Orange easily gets my vote.
There you go.
This is a tricky one for me, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Okay, so Clockwork Orange goes through, and it's now facing off against Dr. Strangelove.
Well, based on what I just said,
that's a vote for Clockwork Orange from Callum.
Have you actually seen the entirety of Clockwork Orange, David?
Yes, but I don't think I was paying attention.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't like Kubrick that much. I appreciate him, but I don't like him. There's a difference. I can go ahead and say, yeah, fantastic filmmaker, not my cup of tea.
Fair enough.
Is that all right?
That's perfectly acceptable.
Callum's got really quiet. I think he hates me.
No, absolutely not. No, it's absolutely fine. He's referred to often these days as like a very cold filmmaker, and I think that is very
accurate.
Accurate representation.
But that doesn't mean bad.
I do think that he has the odd movie that doesn't feel cold to me, which is Doctor Strangelove. It is The Shining. It is Clockwork Orange. And those are the movies I think stand out for me.
Yeah. And I think what you were saying earlier about sitting in a cinema screen and watching one completely focused, I've never had that experience with any of his films.
I think his films are very much designed for that.
Yeah, if I was forced into something like that, I'd probably develop a hefty love for it. So, I mean, it might, it's one of the main reasons that The Hateful Eight is probably one of my favorite Tarantino ones, because it's the first one I saw in a cinema.
Okay, fair enough.
Compared to everything else, and I just got the experience that way.
I dare say Stanley Kubrick didn't want any of his films to be viewed in the home.
Yeah, well, I mean, when he started, it was an impossibility.
Yeah,
it wasn't a thing to be viewed in the home.
And even when it was,
he was able to ban Clockwork Orange for so long because there was no video release. Like it's not like it was in people's homes, thus you couldn't ban it. It just didn't exist.
Yeah,
for sure.
Anyway, my vote goes to Clockwork Orange anyway. So.
Okay. Well, I'll give Doctor Strangelove some love.
Yeah, exactly. I like Doctor Strangelove. I like it a lot. All the bits that I've seen.
I can't wait for Doctor Strangelove 3, the madness of the method, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant. Multiverse of
the Mirror Madness world or something.
Yeah.
It's the multiverse of madness, I think.
Yeah, that one. The Mirror
Madness. The Mirror World.
Look at them shine.
Look at them shine.
And that's it.
Yeah, we did it in under 2 hours. Oh.
Yeah. What we're going to do now, we're going to set all these up in bouts, and we're going to do maybe, I think there's going to be, so with 8 you get 7 hits. So when this is released, we're going to do, so there's 7 bouts in the 8 directors. They picked their best film, put together, and we're going to put that to you guys one a day, and we'll announce
for a week. Nice, one a day for a week.
Exactly. So
clever, David, it's clever.
Yeah. Almost like we planned it that way.
Yeah, almost.
So
came up with it 20 minutes ago.
So a reminder of which ones we've got coming up. From Wes Anderson, we have Fantastic Mr. Fox. From David Fincher,
that seems like a lifetime ago.
Stanley Kubrick sends A Clockwork Orange. Steven Spielberg, A Close Encounter. No, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I was going to say, different movie.
They're so small.
Yeah, different movie.
So small, I had to cut it down to fit it in the box. Martin Scorsese sends Taxi Driver. Christopher Nolan's got The Dark Knight. I think that might be a contender.
It's popular.
We'll see. Quentin Tarantino. Oh, Pulp Fiction could do it though, from Quentin Tarantino. And
also.
let's not forget, we've got Hot Fuzz on the table. Edgar Wright.
We have gone from very niche to very popular. It jumps around.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Oh, I'm excited.
Which leaves it to a public vote. It does lend itself to going one way. But you never know.
I'm excited.
Never know. With our audience, they're such an eclectic little bunch.
And remember, we can all place a vote from our own.
We can. I did last time. That's what made the last vote win, is because I voted.
Well, I think I also put my vote in there.
Yeah, but mine tipped it in my direction. And then I got Hannah to vote, and I knew what she was going to vote for. So
there we go.
It worked out.
Anyway, that is it.
That's right.
Oh, double trouble.
Stop sharing.
Have I been stuck in that position the whole time, or what?
I don't know.
Okay,
I mean, it's all been shared from my screen, so anyway.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. You weren't.
On that note, guys, I think we're good. Thank you very much for sticking around. If you did for this whole time, that is a long.
It is. They get longer and longer.
It's a really good format. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
It allows us to talk about some of the best things of all time.
We'll have to come up with other ways to do this as well. Other things we can do with this.
Yeah.
But we'll be bringing that to you here on the Rap Party channel.
I don't know what that was. That's an end. Fuck it.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of whatever we've been doing here at Rap Party HQ. We'd like to thank Sam Sargent for supplying the score. To hear the full tracks and more music of the same ilk, feel free to head to soundcloud.com/Sam Sargent and tell him Rap Party sent you, preferably not at gunpoint. While on the internet, it'd help us out if you liked us on Facebook, followed us on Twitter, and kept an eye out for further episodes. Thanks once again for listening, and that's a wrap.